This video is going to show a Solar Flawless Zero with the Outbreak Perfected weapon, the crafted version, and even a build made for it. Just to remind people on, make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. But getting on to the topic of the video. So, after you've completed the Outbreak Perfected quest this week, you can craft it. So I'm going to show you gameplay of the crafted Outbreak Perfected in a solo environment in 0 hour. The thing is, this week's it's really unique, and I'll tell you why before I get into the loadout. Okay, normal 0 hour is 1810, legend is 1830, right? However, legend is normal and normal is legend. Work that out in your mind. They're both the same apart from the routes and the floor puzzle. In terms of odds, they hit the exact same. This is good, and I'll tell you why. See, a lot of you is going to be saying, "Oh, this isn't good. It's pain for me. I have to do like a legend difficulty, but on normal." The reason why it's good, I'll tell you why, is because we can do testing grounds on a legend difficulty with a 40-minute timer. Normal has 40 minutes, which means we can simulate what it would be like on legend mode with other loadouts to test if they could be done within the 20-minute timer. See, that's my outlook on stuff. Is I look at outside the box, right? This is good. When people say, "Oh, it's bugged, it's harder." Yeah, but it's 40-minute timer, and it gives you a taste of what legend is, because they're both the same, apart from the routing and the floor puzzle, right? So this is really good. So bear in mind, this might be normal, but the ads hit just as hard on legend, and the ads are just as tanky. So just give that a thought when you're actually watching this gameplay of the Outbreak Perfected setup. So, Outbreak Perfected, once you've crafted it, you can't get a lot on the gun, but so far we have extended barrel, accurized rounds, rapid hit, it's rapid hit week, right, which is, I believe, a plus 25 reload. The gun has a base of 45 reload, yeah? So that's going to put us at a 70 stat reload when all my rapid hit times, I think times 5 is procced, I guess. That's what Reddit says, it's a plus 25 reload, so I'm going to take that as face value. Parasitism and the catalyst, I believe, disease vector, this is the nanite damage, right? So that's what's on it in terms of the build, right? So this is a full-on build made for this gun, all right? It's also made for Fawn and other things, but anyways, we're on a Strand Warlock, so Strand and nanite damage have good synergy together, right? So we got Heal and Rift, Arcade Needle, of course, a Shackle Grenade is on, aspects with a Wanderer, and Mind Spun Invocation. Mind Spun Invocation, when we consume our Shackle Grenade specifically, we're going to let out Suspended Detonations, which synergizes with nanite damage and poison damage as well. It synergizes with Incandescent, a lot of area effect damage, stuff in the game that you can think of, it works with. Alright? And the Wanderers an icing on top, because when we get Tangles, they will also let Suspend and Burst on. So this is a Suspend and Detonation Nanite build. There you go. And Fragments finally. Thread of Isolation, Fury, Generation, Thread of Mind, Class Ability Energy, Grenade Energy, Melee Energy, and to sever debuff targets with precision hits. Do you see how this is just all ability energy stuff? Right, this is why this is also good, and it synergizes with everything. On to the mods, which is important. We've got Double Bomber on the class piece, Balls and Detonation on the arms. These two synergize, work together, and it works together with getting a lot of ability energy back, so we can spam our Strand abilities, and that's the goal for this, to spam Strand abilities whilst doing a lot of suspended detonations. I'm not going to go through everything in terms of what I ran. Here's what I've got on. We need just one thing to note. We need at least one kinetic loader on, which is a plus 10 to reload speed. I've just told you, with the rapid hit, it's going to make it a little bit better for reload, but we're going to bump it up to all the way 80, nearly double in its reload stat with one kinetic loader and rapid hit. So this makes things a little bit different for Outbreak. I'm not saying rapid hit's the best thing on the gun. I'll discuss that in a room what I think's best on the gun, but that's what I recommend. So this is what else we had on. Solar Holster, highly recommend that. And that's all the stuff we use. Weapons wise, to pair with Outbreak, we ran a Solar Sniper and we ran Fixed Odds. We will switch off Fixed Odds to my glorious Royal Entry when we get to the boss fight, but obviously all that will be covered in the run itself. So as I said in the previous video, if you load into 0 hour with a triple reserve plate matching to your guns, you will get more ammo for your guns as you load in. You can then swap back to your resist plate. This is a trick. Make sure that you're using it. So if you're using a fill prep fixed odds or Thunderlord or whatever heavy that you've chose, Dragon's Breath, do this trick. You'll get more ammo as you start. So in the free starting areas, you can gain time because you have more heavy. So for the 0 hour, the solo with Outbreak, is it good? The build's good, yes. Think of it like this. I just said before, normal is legend. Legend is normal. They are both the same for adds. When we consider the adds and the bosses and the damage that they do to us, it's the same. The jumping puzzle is not the same. The floor puzzle is not the same, but the adds are the same. This is good because you can actually test a build in normal to see how it would actually fare in legend. And you've got a 5-minute timer to test. So this is really good. When people looked at it, the bug, and heard about it, they're like, oh man. To me, it's great. It's fantastic. Because it's legend with 40 minutes basically. To me. Which is good. So you can test things out. So any future Soul Force Legends, I'll test it out on normal first, like get to grips with, like if it's something off meta, to see if it can achieve it, and then I'll go ahead and do the Legend. Because you can test them all here, right? So gameplay loop, obviously we pop our shackle grenade, and then we go ham with our ability, with our either machine gun or outbreak, because the nanites are going to help to do the suspend and bursts. Incandescent's going to help to do it. We're going to do a bit of sniping here on the heavy shanks and all the snipers. We want to take out all the snipers first. Now, if you notice the roll on the sniper, this sniper is very good. It's called Uzame, right? It's a Nightfall sniper. I had it for a while now. This roll has explosive payload and triple tap, which are good for two things. So the triple tap's good for the tank. Explosive payload's good for shanks, because let's guess what? Not heavy shanks, but basic shanks do not have crit spots. So they favour body shot damage. Hey, explosive payload does that for you. So, in actual fact, if you have an Uzame with explosive payload, it's really good in 0 hour, especially at the end. So, try it out. Uzame was really good in this. Outbreak was as well. You'll see more of its showcase of damage that it does against all the VIP bosses at the end. So don't worry, it's coming. I'm using it a bit here as well, which it does melt the shanks once the shields took off. It's not melting the shields very good, but I've already talked about the shields, and the shields are essentially not standard shields. If anyone's noticed, are you noticing that the shields are taking a little longer to rip off? I have a theory why this might be. In the old 0 hour, there was highly resistant enemies with more effective shields, the modifier. It didn't read exactly to that degree, but that's what it was. People used to use hard light and stuff like that to rip down the shields. Anyways, that seems still present in this mission. The shields are not regular shields. It's not match game shields, so don't misquote me about the whole match game thing. They're not match game shields, but they're a bit more effective than normal shields. I don't know that for science, for fact. I just know by me playing it, thinking, hang on a sec, these shields are taking a bit longer. Try using Polaris Lance on these shields. It takes ages to take them. Outbreak does okay with it, with the nanites. Obviously, Incandescent does a good job. So the next room, we're going to snipe some of the targets from here, because this is I prefer to do it like this. Rather than rushing in right there right away with snipers and stuff, just take them out first, a couple of them. Then what we're going to do is consume our shackle grenade and then get the first shank kill. If you do that, it'll explode all of them and it'll kill the initial servitor. Then we'll do a super for the second servitor and a set of adds. Then we're good. We've cleared all that really easy. Look, it's really smooth. There's no RNG with it. We're just, as I said, doing things methodical with this setup. So we're going to do a bit of poison on the tank and some sniper damage. So you're going to see a bit of Uzame sniping. As I say, it's really good sniper. It's decent. Because it's doing good tank damage for us, but it's also really good on the shanks, especially at the end, and you're going to see the gameplay of that. We'll just melt the tank with fixed odds here, then we'll just round up the remaining adds. Just do a bit of outbreak damage here. It absolutely starts to melt orange bars. Here's the thing with the pulse rifles. The pulse rifle deal with PvE in Destiny 2. Because a lot of people like are sort of saying, oh, it's a pulse rifle, it's not good. Like any pulse rifle in the game that's mentioned, everybody disregards them in PvE, apart from Revision Zero and Graviton Lance. However, um, it's not the pulse rifle's fault, it's the range drop off. So range drop off in Destiny 2 for pulse rifles is quite harsh. I would like to see them do this for pulse rifles. This give them a slight damage bump, yeah? At least 10 to 15% base for all pulse rifles, including exotic pulse rifles. And increase range drop off or minimize it for all pulse rifles by at least 5 meters. Maybe even all the way up to 10. Let's not make them like scouts. I'm not saying that they should be like a scout range, but they should have a bit more range drop. They shouldn't have as much range drop off as they do. With Outbreak Perfected, you're gonna receive a lot of damage nerf because you're standing too far away from bosses and stuff. But sometimes you need to stand further back in endgame stuff. So that's what I want to see them do with pulse rifles. Let's make pulse rifles great again. They were good in Forsaken. We all remember how good they were. Like we've got Blast Furnace back, and Blast Furnace is okay. Well, it's really good with the roll, but if you don't have kinetic tremors, if you don't have frenzy or nothing on it, it's rubbish. Blast Furnace is rubbish. Without the perks, that's what makes the gun. Outbreak's really good, but you try and do a solo GM with Outbreak, you will notice right away the range drop off's really steep and it's difficult to do damage. It does really good damage up like close, that 20-meter range in PvE, but anything over like 25 meters, it starts to lack damage. Not because of the gun itself, it's because of the harsh range drop off in PvE for pulse rifles. This is a simple fix. So in the future, that's what they need to do, and give them a slight damage bonus on top of the range drop off, on top of minimizing range drop off, and then boom, pulse rifles are now usable in D2. It's kind of dumb that we've got a weapon archetype that's not used in D2. No weapons should not be used. There shouldn't be a. We shouldn't be singling out weapon types just because of time in the sun philosophy by Luke Smith, if anyone knows what that means. What he basically said, this was D1 days, but hey, the Luke Smith philosophy is still in the game now. So basically what this means is that Bungie likes to have certain archetypes of weapons and certain exotics their time in their sun, then they nerf them. Then they'll buff them a year or two after, then they'll nerf, buff, nerf, buff, nerf, buff, and it's this continual forever cycle of nerfing and buffing stuff. Because when something gets buffed a year or two later, it feels like you're getting content again, when you're actually not. An example of this is Revision Zero. We got it, the gun was bad. Alright, a few months later on, we end up getting the gun buffed, and it feels like it's new content, but it's not. But that's just what the forever cycle is, the time in the sun. But I'm saying that we shouldn't have this philosophy with like pulse rifles. There should be usable pulse rifles in PvE, and there's only a few. I've told you the ones. Revision Zero is very useful. Outbreak Perfected is useful, and Graviton Lance. But any other pulse rifle in PvE is terrible, apart from the God Roll Blast Furnace with kinetic tremors and frenzy type deal. Any other pulse rifle, it's terrible because the damage, they just lack damage. This is the only, and their perk pools aren't very good as well. Pulse rifles suffer from really poor perk pools in Destiny 2. Like, we got that Elsie's rifle, and it was like, what, Adrenaline Junkie, and sort of like a Grafalcon build that you can do with it, with the destabilizing rounds and all that stuff. Yeah, big deal. There's loads of guns with that. There's loads of guns with destabilizing rounds and all, and that void build. But there's just the need to invent some more perks for pulse rifles, for PvE. I'm not bothered about PvP. I couldn't care less. But for PvE, we want more perks for pulse rifles. They're suffering. So that's how they would buff pulse rifles, and it would change the pulse rifle game in D2. But they need to give pulse rifles the hand cannon treatment. So did you see? Did you see the damage there? Right? I've finally figured out how you kill Trevor. Look, we're doing 69 body shot damage to him. Did you see it? So you can actually, I've actually figured it out. You can actually kill Trevor. Right? He is the boss. Yous have all been doing it wrong. Yous have been going to the tanks and killing, what's his name? Sepsix. Is that his name? That damn lad with the exoskeleton suit. You've been killing the wrong guy all along. Trevor's got the real outbreak with frickin' Vorpal on it. You've been doing it. Look, do you see the damage I just did? I'll have a video on that coming up about how you can kill Trevor, but I'm not telling you. I'm not revealing all my secrets right now. I'm not doing it. But the switches, it's the same route as what we followed in the last run that we did. Forever since Zero's come out, this is the rotation that you do. It's the quickest. You never see Trevor. So just follow the route on screen. The switches, there's 4 switches. It's actually really cool. Trevor has a set path. All right? He has a set path. I'm just thinking, probably I should do it, but somebody should hide in a wall and evaluate Trevor's AI pattern, the entire loop of it. I would be actually very interested to see what is his cycle. What's his full cycle? Because no one really knows it. Because no one's in here long enough to have seen it all or to be alive. Because a lot of us, like solo-wise, all right, we just want to get past this. This is what we do. But I'm just wondering, like, you could maybe have your team hide round here and actually check what Trevor's pattern is. And does it repeat? So is it like on a 40-second time loop and then it repeats and goes to another one? Or is it RNG? Is it not set after so long? Because it's set on the first as you get there, but I'm wondering if it changes. That's all I'm saying. It's just a thought. I've never actually given it a thought before. We're going to activate one of these lifts and we're going to switch to a Royal Entry rocket with triple void reserves. Why? Because we've got a banner coming up, right? So we can get free ammo. Same again. Make sure whenever you're doing banners in anything, raids, new activities, onslaught, triple banner. I was doing the triple reserve bannering on onslaught, legend onslaught. So I had Dragon's Breath on, right? I was getting 12 shots. I was getting 12 shots per phase. Not that I needed it, but that ammo would overfill to the next rounds. Anyways, floor puzzle. So floor puzzle has changed. It is void rotation. So there's an arc, solar, and void rotation of this floor puzzle, like the old days, but they've changed the puzzle. And normal and legend differentiate between puzzles. So I think, this is what I'm guessing, there's 6 floor puzzles total. 3 for normal, 3 for legend. 6. Which I think on the original 0 hour there was only 3. Yeah, so I think that was the case. I can't really remember, but I think so. So we've got banner here. We're going to place banner and we're going to crouch reload, get that quick fill prep reload, and then go back to our resist plate. So and this is the fun time. This is the fun time with Outbreak because there's a lot of bosses to deal damage to. We're going to get down a healing rift right away because we want to start clearing out some of these ads straight away. We're going to try and use Needle Storm, but again, look at the tracking on that, man. That's what I was on about. I don't even want it to track on those shanks. I want it to track on the boss. So we haven't sent the boss yet. That's fine. We're going to start to manage the room. Now, the ads are not infinite, all right, and you can actively manage it. So we're going to deal damage to one of the... Well, we're actually going to kill both turrets because we're only on normal in terms of time. So we've got time to deal with them. So we're going to actually do that because it frees up a lot of space on the map. And people who are struggling to solo flawless 0 hour, because there will be people out there that will be just struggling to do it, even on normal difficulty, because of how hard the ads hit, and people have an expectation of normal to be easier, and it's not. So our next goal is to deal with this servitor. Forget about the boss. The boss has been sent. He has a rotation, by the way. Here's his rotation. Top mid, left, back mid, right, back to top mid. Then he gets in his exoskeleton, which, by the way, the other day I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a Scooby about that. I didn't know that who was fighting in the thing because I was so tired. Because I was so tired, I didn't know that the brig was the same name as this fallen dude. So when I got the realization of people saying you are fighting him, he's in a brig, he's in an exoskeleton suit technically. It really did like blow my mind a little bit. I was like, that's actually really good because I thought he just despawned and it was just a random brig. So that made me then think: are all brigs uh, ran by fallen enemies? I thought they were just like a machine, or just people use them as like an exoskeleton thing. That was actually really interesting to me. So we're going to deal with these shanks first because we want to super the boss, but if we super the boss whilst the shanks are up, it's going to track the shanks. So we want to maximize damage. Look, let's just watch the damage that we do here. So look at that damage, really good. Bear in mind, that's the legend version of him, right? Really good damage. It sends him. Now we'll come to this location. So look at how we're rotating and controlling this whole map, right? It's really good, like doing it like this. There's nothing on the arena that can challenge us. There's barely any ads alive because we've dealt with them. We're dealing with although there's this one dreg behind me throwing a nade. We'll manage him. That taught him. And then we'll just deal with the servitor. Now, what we can do as well is debuff the servitors with Thread of Isolation. This stops the boss from tethering the ads. Did you see it? Because that's like a mini debuff is severing. But what is happening is the nanites and stuff are spreading out to the shanks, especially when we get a shackle grade, a weaver's trance. Because you're going to see it here, look. Right, so we proc our nade, we kill, we then get a tangle and whatnot, and that does area of effect damage to the rest of the shanks. It's really nice. The boss is obviously teleported to the other side of the map. That's fine, leave him there. We're going to deal with him now and deal with the shanks again. But look at the super energy. That's one thing I want you to sort of take note of. We're getting a super for each time we face him because of Outbreak. See, they reworked intellect. I think now it's probably 2 years ago since. Is it 2 year or 18 month maybe? Where intellect is tied to your bullets. It's tied to the damage that you deal. Salter Graper once it's nerfed. And I kind of agree with him. They kind of do want to nerf it a little bit. But because it's tied to the damage that you do. And the more damage you do in quick succession, the more intellect you get, especially when you've got an exotic primary on or like a fusion rifle. But like, say you have a shotgun on, a slug shotgun, you're not going to get the intellect the same. So having understood that, I mean, I've understood this for a while, but if you understand that, you can manipulate this in GMs or any times that you're up against champions and stuff like that. You can stall for your super type thing. You're not really stalling in a way, but if you're just doing damage with your exotic primary, then look at the super energy because they're all orange bars. So we're going to get rid of this boss now. We're going to use a bit of Royal Entry. I haven't talked about that at all. So why have I not got Apex Predator on? Because that's what you're going to be thinking. It's a burning question. I have got it crafted. I do use it. The reason is simple. The Royal Entry rocket has tracking, field prep, clown carriage. This is a rocket that we dump to a target. But the big thing is that it has tracking on it as well. Now, if I put tracking on a Apex Predator, you lose a perk in the first column. That is Apex Predator's weakness, where the strength of Royal Entry is that, yes, it doesn't have a damage perk, but it's a field prep clown with tracking for free. This works out so good for the server. You're going to see how good it works. We're going to use this sniper on the tank. And what we're going to actually do is use the tank as a wall, a barrier between the other tank. I recommend that you do this if you can, especially if the tank's weak like this. Like, look, the other tank can't see us. So what we can do is pop a healing rift. If we had the sniper ammo, we don't. But if we did, we could just snipe. And this is what we're going to do. So we can melt the tank and then we're ready for the next one. Now, I'm mini stalling for the super here a little bit because I want my super for when the servitor spawns in. So this is making a decision to do the tank section a little bit slower. It doesn't matter, we're on normal by the way, but I'm just explaining the strategy behind it. We're going a little bit slower on purpose by doing outbreak damage instead to try and get super energy before the trigger. Now the footage skipped there a little bit. That's been happening recently with my PS5. I'm going to have to check why recording's skipping a little bit. We used to have this problem on PS4 Pro back in the days. So I'm going to have to check why that is happening. But the servitor spawn, this is where we're going to use a bit of roll entry. We didn't quite get our super, like I wanted my super right away as he spawned, so we didn't get it in time. That's fine though. We're going to use roll entry. So that's the strength of roll entry right here, is because we can, outbreak's not going to do the damage for us right now because we need to play from range a little bit. So that's where the rocket comes in really handy. Being able to just, quickly ADS, get a tracking shot, and then run and gun. It's really good for that. Like with a bait and switch Apex Predator, you would have had to take more time and care of your shots. And whilst you're doing that, the brig might kill you. Because you need to be on this cadence of, you need to be running and gunning constantly. Yeah? And that was another reason why I was like, oh yeah, my prized royal entry would do really good in this. So that's why we used it. Now we're going to use a bit of outbreak. We're going to keep using this middle section for cover whilst dealing with the snipers, because we need to clear out all, we want to clear out all the ads. We want to get a clean run, have all ads dead. That was the run I was going for. It wasn't to go for a sub 20-minute run or something. It was to get a clean run so that you see all the ads, the rotation of them and everything. So we're going to use a bit of an Uzumir here because they're solar shanks, and like I said earlier on, because it has explosive, it does more damage to shanks. So explosive payload snipers are really good, and I don't see anyone using them. The reason is because there's not many explosive payload snipers in the game. So this is really good here. Look at this. Like, if I was to run another Solar Flawless Legend right now, I would maybe consider Uzumir. If I'm running, say I'd done a Lucky Pants run on a Hunter with Malfeasance or Warden's Law or something, I would consider using a Uzumir because of this reason. So this weapon passed the test, definitely, for this. So there's a couple more ads alive. We've got our super. I'll notice we haven't used it yet. We're going to use it against the brig, but we're going to make sure all ads are down. We're going to pop a shackle here to try and deal with these orange bars, because there's some left. That's it. So there's a couple more ads left, I believe. There's one or two snipers at the back of the map, and then we can then focus the brig itself. One more sniper left, and then we've got plenty of ammo. I didn't even have Void Scav on. So why am I getting so much ammo for roll entry? Well, that's because field prep rockets, okay, stack with scavenger mods. And they just seem to generally get more ammo than a non-standard field prep weapon in general. Honestly, like, I feel as though it's just me saying that field prep is like one of the best perks in PvE, but it really is. Look at fixed odds. Everybody who ran a solo flawless, look at the damage, by the way, really good damage there. Anyone that ran a solo flawless legend 0 hour yesterday, right? If you were on solo, most of them were using field prep fixed odds machine guns. Why is that? It's simple. The power of being able to use a weapon for longer is sometimes more important to us than other perks. So don't be sleeping on the field prep, because it means that you can get more ammo of said weapon, and in some cases this really ups the power of the gun. So we're going to do a bit of sniper damage here to finish off the brig. That was the solo 0 hour with Outbreak Perfected. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.